Okay, I think our bus is actually coming now. But it's like 5-10 minutes late. We almost missed our flight. And this bus is, doing stuff. And it is... I cannot read. It is our bus. There was a very hard to beat 10-second cutoff for Pyraminx, which was a bit daunting because I only occasionally get 10 or sub 10 second times, so I wanted to see whether I could do it in this competition, but I was on like 4 hours of sleep because I made it at 2:30 a.m. into the hotel room. And the first solve ended up being a 12 because I forgot to correct one of the tips. And yeah, the last solve had to be better than 12 or else I was going to not get an average. I didn't like the second scramble any better. And as I sat down, I was still quite tired. But then I saw the scramble and thought, oh well, I don't think I'm getting an average. This solve also ended up being a 12. Which meant I couldn't get a average because the cutoff was 10 seconds. Went and I saw Red Bull cliff diving, which was pretty fun. I saw the women's finals. And then we went back to the venue to look at some stuff for like the next day in the schedule. We also went and had some food in the center of Copenhagen, which made me feel a bit sick. But there you go. I had recently started doing something new for Ortega where I would look at my first layer and figure out where the bar was, so I would then have a faster transition into a last layer case without needing to check if there was a bar on the bottom layer. So I ended up getting quite a good average, which broke my PB average, and the first off was a 5, and it was quite good for me to get a 5 in competition. So for my next solve, I was pretty hopeful that I could get a 5 or 6 average. That would beat my average current PR. So I wanted to get another 5 or maybe 2 5s. And this also ended up being a 5, so I had a counting 5, which was good. This solve was okay. I thought the scramble was pretty good, but it ended up being a 6. So as long as I didn't get another 6, that wouldn't be included in my average, and I would have the 5 average that I wanted. But I would also be happy with a 6 average, because I just wanted to improve my average PB. Or PR. So the next scramble, I said ready, and I looked at it, and I thought, okay, this scramble's alright. I figured out where the bar would be. But this solve also ended up being a 6. So I had a counting 6, but also a counting 5. So if my next solve was a 5, then it could be a 5 average. The next solve, when I looked at it, I thought, okay, this might be a 5 as well. So then I was hopeful, and I figured out what type of bottom side I would have. And then I barely paused through this entire solve, apart from figuring out the OLL. And then it ended up being a 5, which I was happy with, as you can see from the little fist bump. All I wanted for 3x3 in this competition was to get an official sub 20 average. Because I averaged sub 20 at home for the past month or so, but I was still only getting 20 or so in competition. So I wanted to get sub 20 if I could. So the first solve ended up being a 17. As always, competition nerves made my hands shake a little bit, as you can see. I don't know what my camera was doing with the colouring, but I don't know. And then this ended up being a 17. So this next solve, I was in a pretty good state of mind. But I dropped my GoPro, or well, someone had knocked into me and made me drop my GoPro before this solve. So it was broken on the clip, so that was playing on my mind. But I put that out of my head, and I managed to get another 17, so I had a counting 17. So hopefully I'd be able to keep that up and get a sub 20 average, which is basically what I came to this comp for, and a better 2x2 average. So counting 17 was good, and I was hopeful. This next solve, F12 was like really good, and so was the cross. So I managed to get that done really quickly, but then I messed up the OLL somehow, and I had to do the entire solve again, like right here. Where I messed up the OLL. And I had to do the entire solve again, which made it a 28, which I hoped that wouldn't just destroy my confidence and make me get 20 after 20 and ruin this competition for me. So as you can see, I was pretty angry, and I didn't even show the time, and I grabbed the GoPro like it was my enemy. This solve, I thought I did pretty well in as well. It was an 18, which was good, which meant that my previous solve and my GoPro breaking wasn't playing on my mind, and I didn't lose confidence, which meant it almost didn't matter what I got for the next solve. I have a 17 and an 18 already, so probably the worst case would be getting a 24 and then having a 20 average, but this ended up being an 18. This solve was a 17, and I was really happy with this because it meant that I could finally have my sub 20 average, which I hoped for. I mean, I thought it would have looked nicer if it was all 17s and 18s rather than just 17, 17, 28, 18, 17. It probably looked a bit weird, but yeah, that happened, and I now have a 17 average on my WCA profile, which I hope to improve with further competitions. I was happy about that, as you can see from the fist bump.